हेलो हेलो ऑडियो टेस्ट। सुनिए ऑडियो लिए भाई। आ गई है। हाँ दे दे भाई। मॉनिटर फॉर देम। मॉनिटर सर इसमें सर मॉनिटर फ्री करो सर का। यार वो फोटो फिनिश नहीं आई ना मेरे पास। फोटो फिनिश का मैं देखता हूँ। रेडी। हाँ सर वो वाला लगाता हूँ। मेरा है। मेरा फोन किसके पास है? मेरा फोन ये तो नहीं है। मेरा फोटो फ्रीज नहीं आया ना? नहीं। इनपुट ले लिया आपने?
Good morning to everyone. Tamil Nadu Athletics Association under the aegis of Athletics Federation of India is happy in welcoming you all for the 6th National Open Race Walking Championship 2019. The events which are in progress are 20-kilometer race walk for men Group A and 20-kilometer race walk for women. And as the competitors are concerned, 20 athletes are taking part in the men Group A. Bib number 183, Sanjay Kumar of Rajasthan. 201, Baljinder Singh of Punjab. 203, Deepak Kumar of Punjab. 205, Eknath Sambuji of Maharashtra. 206, Ganapati Krishnan of Tamil Nadu. 207, Irfan of Kerala. 208, Jai Bhagwan of Haryana. 210, Kulwant Singh of Punjab. 211, Manish Singh Rawat of Uttar Pradesh. 212, Panchwa Babu Bai of Gujarat. 214, Satyanarayanan of Uttar Pradesh. 215, Surinder Singh of Punjab. 216, Vikas Singh of Delhi. 218, Akshdeep Singh of Punjab. 262, an athlete from Chinese Taipei by name Jia Sin Lin. 263, another athlete from abroad, Lu Chon Singh of Malaysia. 506, Devendra Singh of Haryana. 510, Jitendra Singh Rathore of Rajasthan. 524, Sandeep Kumar of Haryana. And 526, Chandan Singh of Uttarakhand. And as we are witnessing, if they are able to go up, take a right turn and walk along the full course, and again take a right turn and come to the start point, it will be covering a distance of 1 kilometer. So they will have to go for 20 laps. Men Group A is in progress, and also women 20-kilometer race walk is also in progress.
In the women's category for the 20-kilometer race walk, we have Anjali Kumari, bib number 275 from Bihar, Karamjeet Kaur 276 from Haryana, Manjari Joshi 277 from Uttarakhand, Priyanka 278 from Uttar Pradesh, Rani Yadav 279 from Uttar Pradesh, Ravina 280 from Haryana, Shanti Kumari 281 Punjab, Soumya B 282 from Kerala, Annu Dhawan 283 from Haryana, Bandana Patel 284 from Uttar Pradesh, Bhavana Jat 285 from Rajasthan, Garima Mittal 286 from Haryana, Jaspal Kaur 287 from Haryana, Kajal Pandey 288 from Haryana, Pooja Kumari 289 from Punjab, Priyanka Patel 290 Madhya Pradesh, Rakhi Kushbala 291 from Uttar Pradesh, Ramandeep Kaur 292 from Punjab, Renu Saharawat 293 from Haryana, Shivani 294 from Uttarakhand, Sonal Sukwal 295 from Rajasthan, Sono 296 from Rajasthan, Wen Zulin 297 from Chinese Taipei, and Nurullah K. Kamara Zamba 298 from Malaysia. These are the participants who are in progress for the 20-kilometer race walk women's section. As we have said, from the starting point, they move on the race course, take a right turn, come back, again come back, take a right turn and come to the starting point, which covers 1 kilometer, and thus they have to do 20 laps to finish the 20-kilometer race walk.
And at present, there is the lead bunch. And that happens to be the lead bunch in the men Group A. That is Chandan Singh of Uttarakhand along with other athletes moving in front. And that is Nirul Kamarzama from Malaysia who is on the screen. And that is a group of women athletes moving forward. 281, 294. 281 is Shanti Kumari of Punjab and 294 is Shivani of Uttarakhand. We could see the leading bunch of athletes in the men Group A with 526 Chandan Singh of Uttarakhand, 206 Ganapati Krishnan of Tamil Nadu, two zeros, and Malaysian athlete Luchon Singh with bib number 263 is also moving in the bunch. We do have 524 Sandeep Kumar of Haryana in the bunch. And that happens to be the lead bunch, and 206 is moving ahead, Ganapati Krishnan of Tamil Nadu. With 206 in front being followed by 506. 206 Ganapati Krishnan of Tamil Nadu. Deminder Singh of Haryana at present in the second spot. Anyhow, they are in the bunch, and we could see 298. Nirul Kamar Zama of Malaysia taking a turn, being followed by 277. That is Manjari Joshi of Uttarakhand. And there is 283 Anud Dhawan of Haryana, being followed by 288 Kajal Pandey of Haryana. And there you could see the men bunch coming closer, taking a turn. moving for the next lap. And that is the leading bunch in the men Group A section. And at present it is 5-6 moving a friend Chandan Singh of Uttarakhand. We have Ganapati Krishnan of Tamil Nadu and Devendra Singh of Haryana. They are the lead athletes in the Group A men's section of 20-kilometer walk. Still Ganapati Krishnan of Tamil Nadu is able to maintain the lead with 5:06. Devendra Singh of Haryana for the second spot. How many laps to go? Nine of the athletes are in the lead bunch. And that is 2:81. .292 and 297 are in the front. Ramandeep Kaur of Punjab and Wen Zulin of Chinese Taipei.
We are just watching the 6th National Open Race Walking Championship 2019. In the men's section, we have the 20-kilometer race walk for the A group, and in the women's, we have the 20-kilometer race walk, which are in progress. In the race, we can see in the women's section, 280 Ravina, 281 Shanti Kumari, Anu Dhawan 283, Kajal Pandey 288, Ramandeep Kaur 292, and 297 Wenzu Lin, who are in the lead. And in the men's section, we have a bunch of them coming in who are really racing out to be the winner. We have Ganapati Krishnan from 206. We have 506 Devendra Singh in the men's section. Chandan Singh 526, who are a bunch who are leading in the front. Kulwant Singh 210. We have a lot of them trying to race it out. We can see the speed with which they're moving up. We have 20 laps for them to finish this 20-kilometer race. You can see them going up, take a right turn, coming back, and again back to the starting point, which covers them 1-kilometer race. So on the whole, we have 20-kilometer race walk in the men's section, A category, and the women's section, 20-kilometer race walk. It's a very pleasant morning where all the athletes, it's a very good atmosphere and the temperature for them to have their race walk. We can see the bunch of winning group just taking the turn, the right turn where they come back.
I'll just take 2 chairs, you continue. After that.
So here they come to finish the turn, and then they go back to the starting point. That's the group who are just coming on to the starting point. That is where they started off the race, and then they move on to take the turn. On the screen you've just seen (275) Anjali Kumari, you just crossed the screen. That is on the screen, whom you see is 293 in the women's section. Renu Shaharwat from Haryana.
नहीं अभी तो सही चल रहा है देखिए वहाँ कुछ छेड़ा रही है उन्होंने वो एक सिंपल लाइन
288 Kajal Pandey from Haryana is just approaching on the screen. We can see her, followed by 276 Karamjit Kaur from Haryana.
You have to be very careful, madam.
Let's sit to a side so that you can see the screen.
No,
The lamp score.
you have to be very careful. Yeah. Place it in such a way that
And that is the lead bunch in the men's section, Group A. 506 Ganapati. 506 is Devendra Singh of Haryana, who is in the lead. Along with him, we have 206 Ganapati Krishnan of Tamil Nadu. 207 is also moving in the front. That is Irfan of Kerala. And that is 287, and the other bunch of athletes, 205, Eknath Sambaji of Maharashtra. And now we could see 293, Renu Sharawat of Haryana. And that is 206, who is leading the bunch in the men's section, Ganapati Krishnan of Tamil Nadu. 506 is in the second spot at present, Devendra Singh of Haryana. We also have 524, Sandeep Kumar of Haryana in the third spot at present. As they keep moving, the lead bunch will have to go for 14 more laps. They are getting refreshed from the water points. And that is 276, who is the lead athlete in the women's section. That happens to be Karamjit Kaur of Haryana. We have 283 Anu Dhawan of Haryana. And we could see 263, an athlete from Malaysia, Lo Chong Seng. 276 is the lead athlete in the women's section. And now on the screen it is Ravina of Haryana and 288 Kajal Pandey of Haryana. The lead bunch being the leader, it is Ganapati Krishnan with bib number 206, who is from Tamil Nadu. 506 is at the second spot, Devendra Singh of Haryana. .201 happens to be the fourth. .524 is in the third spot, Sandeep Kumar of Haryana. 207, Irfan of Kerala is in the fourth one. And that is Ganapati Krishnan of Tamil Nadu still moving in front. .207 Irfan K is in the last of the lead bunch. And there you could see the women athletes in their lap. And that is the turning point, which is 250 meters away from the start point. From there they take a turn and move along, and it will be almost 500 meters at a stretch. There again they will have to take a right turn, which will be coming to the start point, which will be 250, and from 250 to the turning point it will be 250 meters. And on the screen it is 280 Ravina of Haryana. The lead bunch in the men's section, Ganapati Krishnan of Tamil Nadu still being the leader. We have 506, 526 and 524 being followed. At the second spot it is 506 Devendra Singh of Haryana. As the lead bunch in the men's section take a turn, they are moving towards the start point, for which they will be completing a lap. And when they reach that point, they will have to go for 13 more laps. .283 Anu Dhawan of Haryana and 280 Ravina of Haryana putting themselves forward. In the beginning it was 9 athletes who were in the lead bunch, and now it got diluted to 6. .206 Ganapati Krishnan of Tamil Nadu still in front. 506 Devendra Singh in the second spot. 526 Chandan Singh of Uttarakhand in the third spot at present. The lead bunch will have to go for 13 more laps. And to continue the commentary, over to Rukmini.
So we have about 12 more laps to go to complete the 20-kilometer race walk. In the men's section, we can see the lead bunch, 201 Baljinder Singh. You have 206 Ganapati Krishnan, who's leading now. 506 Devendra Singh, 524 Sandeep Kumar, 526 Chandan Singh. And in the women's section, you can see on the screen, you have 276, who's just approaching, is Karamjeet Kaur from Haryana. You have 282 Soumya B from Kerala. 279 is Rani Yadav from Uttar Pradesh. And 277 is Manjari Joshi from Uttarakhand. So they're in the women's section. And here you see the bunch just taking the right turn to complete one half of the lap. And that is the same group. 206 is Ganapati Krishnan from Tamil Nadu. 506 is Devendra Singh from Haryana. 207 is Irfan from Kerala. And then you have 524 is Sandeep Kumar from Haryana. This is the group, the leading bunch, which you can see. 201 is Baljinder Singh from Punjab. We have another 12 rounds for them to complete. Laps 277 in the women's section, along with the leading group of the men, is Karamjit Kaur from Haryana. They have taken the turn, they take the right turn, they go back, they come back to the starting point, which covers a 1 lap, and that is 1 kilometer. (277) Manjari Joshi from Uttarakhand, who has just crossed the screen. 279 was Rani Yadav from Uttar Pradesh. 276 is on the lead, Karamjit Kaur from Haryana. 278 on the screen is Priyanka from Uttar Pradesh, and 282 is Soumya B from Kerala. 298 Nurul Kamarzama from Malaysia. 298 is from Malaysia, Nurullah Kamarzama. Very close, catching up with the women. And in the lead bunch is still Ganapati Krishnan, 206 from Tamil Nadu.
And that is the lead bunch moving on in the men's section. As they'll be reaching the start point, they'll have to go for further 12 laps. And there we could see 277 Manjari Joshi of Uttarakhand. 282 Soumya of Kerala. A lead bunch being headed by Ganapati Krishnan of Tamil Nadu is on the move. And at the second spot we have 506. That happens to be Devendra Singh of Haryana. And for the third spot, it is 524, Sandeep Kumar of Haryana. 6 of the athletes are moving together as a bunch. They are the lead bunch. The men will have to go for 12 more laps. And that is 289, Pooja Kumari of Punjab. And from the start point, they are moving towards the turning point, which is 250 meters away. There they'll be taking a right turn. And that is 276, the leader in the women's section, Karamjit Kaur of Haryana. Being followed by 278 Priyanka of Uttar Pradesh, who is at the second spot, and 282 Soumya of Kerala. Ganapati Krishnan of Tamil Nadu still moving in front, being followed by Devendra Singh of Haryana and Sandeep Kumar of Haryana in the third spot. At present, 207 KT Irfan of Kerala in the fourth, 526 Chandan Singh of Uttarakhand in the fifth spot. And In the beginning, it was 9 of the athletes in the men's section moving together. Then it got diluted to 6, and now it is 5. All the 5 moving together, 2, 7, 8. The second women athlete at present is Priyanka of Uttar Pradesh. And the third one is 282, B. Saumya of Kerala. And that is 281, Shanti Kumari of Punjab, being followed by 293, Renu Sharawat of Haryana. Ganapati Krishnan of Tamil Nadu with 206 is moving in the front with Devendra Singh of Haryana in the second spot. Sandeep Kumar of Haryana with 524 in the third spot. 524 has become the fourth one, and 526 Chandan Singh of Uttarakhand is also in the lead bunch, and they are the second and third athletes in the women's section taking the turn. .216 is Vikas Singh of Delhi. The focus is very much on the lead bunch of the men. And we could see 276 Karamjit Kaur of Haryana, who is in the lead as far as the women's section is concerned. And that is Ganapati Krishnan of Tamil Nadu in the front, with Chandan Singh of Uttarakhand in the second spot. 524 Sandeep Kumar of Haryana in the third spot. Five of the athletes remains to be in the lead bunch of men A. And that is 283 Anud Dhawan of Haryana. 296 Sonu of Rajasthan, and 297 Wen Zhu Lin of Chinese Taipei. Following them we have 287 Jaspal Kaur of Haryana. And that is 297 Wen Zhu Lin from Chinese Taipei, who is one among the two athletes from foreign country. 206 still keeps the lead. Ganapati Krishnan of Tamil Nadu moving in front. And there happens to be a change in the leadership, and now it is 524 and 526 moving together. Chandan Singh of Uttarakhand and Sandeep Kumar of Haryana moving together, leaving Ganapati Krishnan a little behind, almost for the third spot. And that is Sandeep Kumar of Haryana, who is in the front, being followed by Chandan Singh of Uttarakhand. And to continue, over to Rukmini.
So we have just seen the 6 of them together as a bunch in the men's section, who were just going as a group. But now taking the lead is Sandeep Kumar 524 from Haryana, who's followed by Chandan Singh 526 of Uttarakhand, and Ganapati Krishnan 206 from Tamil Nadu is just behind them. In the women's section, you have 297, the foreign athlete runner, Wen Zhulin from Chinese Taipei. We have one more, 298, Nurullah from Malaysia. Both of them are from the foreign country. We have the bunch which is just in the lead, and we have another 10 laps to go for them to finish this 20-kilometer race walk in the men's section A category. So 524 in the lead, we can see is Sandeep Kumar from Haryana. 506 is Devendra Singh from Haryana again. 218 is just taking the bend is Akshdeep Singh from Punjab. And you have 201 Baljinder Singh from Punjab. In the women's section, you can see on the screen is 297 Wen Zhulin from Chinese Taipei. 283 is Anu Dhawan from Haryana, who are going to take the bend and then they will come to the starting point. 10 laps to go. 526 Chandan Singh from Uttarakhand is still in the lead. In the third and fourth spot, you can see is Ganapati Krishnan from Tamil Nadu. 524 is Sandeep Kumar from Haryana, who's in the second spot. And 506, Devendra Singh from Haryana is just behind them in the third place. 10 laps to go for them to complete this 20-kilometer race walk. And over to Muthu.
Thank you, Rukmini. And that happens to be 298 in the screen of the lead bunch. Now the leader being Chandan Singh of Uttarakhand. And at the second spot, Sandeep Kumar. Sandeep Kumar of Haryana. We do have Devendra Singh of Haryana. And the former leader, Ganapati Krishnan of Tamil Nadu, is in the fourth spot at present. KT Irfan of Kerala is also in the lead bunch with 218 Akshdeep Singh of Punjab, who is also in the lead bunch. And we could see 277, that is Manjari Joshi of Uttarakhand, being followed by 290 Priyanka Patel of Madhya Pradesh. 285 we have Bhavana Jat of Rajasthan, and that is the lead bunch with Chandan Singh moving in front, Chandan Singh of Uttarakhand moving in front, and for the second spot it is 524 Sandeep Kumar of Haryana, and that is the lead bunch as they will be moving in. 277 is Manjari Joshi of Uttarakhand. In the women's section, the leader will have to go for 11 laps. And a warning had been shown by the official. And that is 277. Manjari Joshi of Uttarakhand. The bunch which is overtaking happens to be the lead one in the men's section, Group A. And that is Chandan Singh of Uttarakhand in front. While the men will have to go for 10 laps, women will have to go for 11 laps. And that happens to be the position of the leaders. With 526, Chandan Singh of Uttarakhand moving in front. 506 is moving to the second one, Devendra Singh of Haryana, and now Ganapati Krishnan of Tamil Nadu, who is in the third one, and that happens to be 294. Shivani of Uttarakhand, and that is the lead bunch. The men will have to go for 10 more laps in the 20-kilometer race walk Group A. Six of the athletes remain in the lead bunch. And they are the officials at the finish point. Chandan Singh of Uttarakhand being the leader, 5 other athletes move along with him. The lead walkers will have to go for 9 more laps to finish 20-kilometer race walk. And that happens to be 526. Chandan Singh still leading the bunch. Chandan Singh of Uttarakhand. 506. Devendra Singh of Haryana in the second spot. 524. Sandeep Kumar of Haryana in the third spot. 206. Ganapati Krishnan of Tamil Nadu in the fourth one. 201. Baljinder Singh of Punjab in the fifth place. 218. Ashok Singh of Punjab. And in the lead bunch, as the last, we have 207. KT Irfan of Kerala. And that happens to be 293. Renu Sharawat of Haryana. 298. And that is Nurul A. Kamarzama from Malaysia. And she happens to be one among the 2 foreign athletes in the women's section. Taking the U-turn, the lead bunch moves intact with 6 of the athletes. And to continue, over to Rukmini.
So on the screen, we still see the same sex people taking the lead. 526 is still in the lead. Chandan Singh with Uttarakhand. You have Sandeep Kumar, 524, Haryana. You have Devendra Singh, 506 from Haryana. Akshadeep Singh, 218 from Punjab. Irfan KT from Kerala. Ganapati Krishnan, 206 from Tamil Nadu. And Baljinder Singh, Punjab. So this group is continuing to be together. They have another 8 laps to go for them to complete the 20-kilometer race. And in the women's section, they have another 10 laps to go. The bunch, the leading bunch, which you see has just taken the turn. And the person who just crossed the screen is 298. In the women's section, you have 293 Renu Saharawat from Haryana, who's just crossed. And here again we come back to the leading group, the bunch of leaders in the 20-kilometer walk for the 6th National Open Race Walking Championship 2019, which is in progress, where in the men's section they have about 8 laps to go to complete the race, and in the women's section we have 10 laps to go.
And there is a lead bunch. And now there happens to be a change in the leader. It is 506 Devendra Singh of Haryana in front, With 526, Chandan Singh of Uttarakhand slipping to the second spot. A card is being displayed to the one of the athlete in the lead bunch, and that is Devendra Singh of Haryana in front. Chandan Singh of Uttarakhand in the second spot. 206 Ganapati Krishnan moving to the third spot. And at present it is 524. Sandeep Kumar of Haryana for the fourth one. The leaders will have to go for 8 more laps. Devendra Singh of Haryana in front with Chandan Singh of Uttarakhand in the second spot. 524 Sandeep Kumar of Haryana in the third. For the fourth we have 206 Ganapati Krishnan of Tamil Nadu. In the women's section it is 283 Anud Dhawan of Haryana, and that happens to be 208 Jai Bhagwan of Haryana. And the athlete in approach is Shanti Kumari of Punjab with bib number 281. And that is the lead bunch taking the turn. Devendra Singh, Haryana, leads the bunch. For the initial rounds, it was 206 Ganapati Krishnan of Tamil Nadu who was leading, and later it was Chandan Singh of Uttarakhand who was leading, and now it is Devendra Singh of Haryana who is in the lead. And of course, it is not very certain. They are not able to increase the lead, and as we see, it is Chandan Singh of Uttarakhand gaining the lead again, leaving Sandeep Kumar of Haryana to the second spot. Chandan Singh of Uttarakhand still moving in front with 524. Sandeep Kumar of Haryana in the second place at present. 506 Devendra Singh of Haryana is in the second spot at present with 524 Sandeep Kumar of Haryana in the third one. The leaders in the men's section will have to go for 8 more laps. And the athlete with bib number 281 who is in approach is Shanti Kumari of Punjab. The lead bunch is to be seen with Chandan Singh of Uttarakhand being the leader. Again he takes over, leaving Devendra Singh of Haryana for quite some time to be the leader. Again he takes over. And that is 281 Shanti Kumari of Punjab. Following her is a lead bunch in the men's section. They will have to go for 8 more laps. They are taking a turn, and as they will be reaching towards the start point, they will have to go for further 7 laps. And that is 283 Anud Dhawan of Haryana who is seen. Along the lead bunch of men, we do have 281 Shanti Kumari of Punjab. Well, the 6th National Open Race Walking Championship 2019 is being organized by Tamil Nadu Athletics Association at Chennai, and it is happening near the island grounds. Chandan Singh of Uttarakhand is the leader, and they will have to go for 7 more laps to finish 20-kilometer race walk. And to continue, over to Rukmini.
Thank you, Muthu. And on a very pleasant morning, the apt temperature for the race walk, which is very much needed for these race walkers. We have in Chennai at the island grounds, which were the 6th National Open Race Walking Championship 2019 is in progress with another 7 laps to go in the men's section and 8 laps in the women's section, where on the screen you see 280 Ravina from Haryana, who's just approaching. You have the lead bunch of men who are just about to take the bend. On the screen is 208 Jai Bhagwan from Haryana. 292 is Ramandeep Kaur from Punjab. 289 on the screen is Pooja Kumari from Punjab. So that is a group which is just leading in the men's section. You have 526 Chandan Singh from Uttarakhand, who's in the lead, followed by you have 506 Devendra Singh from Haryana, and in the third, just very much close, is Ganapati Krishnan from Tamil Nadu. You have the 3 of them, 4, 5, 6 of them just continuing in the same group. 207 Irfan Katie from Kerala, and you have 207, that is Irfan, who's just crossed the last of the group. 506 is Devendra Singh, 526 is Chandan Singh, 206 is Ganapati Krishnan from 20 of Tamil Nadu. So these 3 are in the lead, and on the screen you see 277 Manjari Joshi from Uttarakhand, who's along with the group. 277 is Manjari Joshi from Uttarakhand. 280 just approaching is Ravina from Haryana. 289 in the women's section is Pooja Kumari from Punjab. She's with the rest of the men. 208 in the men's section is Jai Bhagwan from Haryana, who's just on the screen now. You have the other group of men, the leading group that is following 289 and 292. 289 is Pooja Kumari from Punjab and Ramandeep Kaur from Punjab. In the women's section, you have about 8 laps to go, and in the men's section you have just 7 laps to go to complete the race, the 20-kilometer race walk. This race walk, the National Open Race Walk Championship 2019, is being organized by the Tamil Nadu Athletic Association. So there, the leading bunch, and then you have the other men. 208 in the men's section is Jai Bhagwan from Haryana. 526 is still in the lead, Chandan Singh from Uttarakhand. You see him in the lead. 524 is Sandeep Kumar from Haryana. 206 Ganapati Krishnan from Tamil Nadu in the 3rd spot, and 207 Irfan Katie from Kerala, and then you have all of them going as a group, as a leading bunch, which you can see. 506 is Devendra Singh from Haryana. So the 6 of them are still in the lead. Over to Muthu.
Thank you, Rukmini. And with men to go for 6 more laps, it is Chandan Singh of Uttarakhand who is in the lead still. Chandan Singh of Uttarakhand is being followed by Sandeep Kumar of Haryana, and now it is Ganapati Krishnan of Tamil Nadu taking over for the 2nd spot, moving along with the leader Chandan Singh of Uttarakhand, and the other lead bunch with 6 of the athletes moving together always. With 9 athletes in the beginning, it got diluted to 6, then it got reduced to 5, and again it happened to be 6. and that happens to be 294. It is Shivani of Uttarakhand who is on the screen with Bhavana Jat of Rajasthan with 285. 263 is in approach, who happens to be Lu Chun Singh from Malaysia. He's one among the two athletes from abroad, and that is the board indicating for the men athlete to go for 6 more laps. 206. The initial leader Ganapati Krishnan of Tamil Nadu takes over again. 263 is to be seen on the screen. Ganapati Krishnan of Tamil Nadu moving in front with 524. Sandeep Kumar of Haryana in the second spot. Five to four in the second spot, 506 in the third spot. Sandeep Kumar of Haryana in the second, Ganapati Krishnan of Tamil Nadu in the lead. And there you could see 288 who is on the screen. And that happens to be Kajal Pandey of Haryana, being followed by 294, Shivani of Uttarakhand. And 263, a men athlete, Lu Chun Singh from Malaysia, is also to be seen in fluorescent green tops. We could see 295, who happens to be the third place at present, Sonal Shukwal of Rajasthan. And she happens to be the third one in the women's section, taking the turn along with the men leaders. The women will have to go for 7 more laps, and we could see 297 Wen Zulin of Chinese Taipei. Wen Zulin of Chinese Taipei moves over there, and that happens to be 293. Renu Sharawat of Haryana who is following, and that is Ganapati Krishnan of Tamil Nadu who is in the front with 524. Sandeep Kumar of Haryana in the second spot, 506. Devinder Singh of Haryana in the third spot at present. Now it has become 5. The leader bunch in the men's section happens to be 5, and they will have to go for 5 more laps. 263. Athlete from Malaysia by name Lu Chun Singh is to be seen over there. And that happens to be 283, Anud Dhawan of Haryana. And that is the board indicates that leaders will have to go for 5 more laps. 282 is in approach, and she happens to be the second place at present. 282, B. Soumya of Kerala, who is moving in the second spot in the women's section. Soumya is heading towards the turn, and that is the lead bunch, being headed by Ganapati Krishnan of Tamil Nadu. And to continue, over to Rukmini.
So on the screen we just have the leading group with only 5 of them now, which has been reduced from 6. In the lead is 206 Ganapati Krishnan from Tamil Nadu. 524, as you see, is Sandeep Kumar from Haryana. 207 is Irfan KT from Kerala. You have 524 Sandeep Kumar from Haryana. Chandan Singh 526 from Uttarakhand. The 5 of them in the lead. Ganapati Krishnan was in the 3rd spot, who was leading for some time, then he went to the spot, and now you see him leading on and stretching himself away from the group a little away from the 5 of them. Is in the lead now. You see is Ganapati Krishnan, 206 from Tamil Nadu, who is followed by Chandan Singh 526 from Uttarakhand. You have Sandeep Kumar 524 from Haryana. In the women's section, you just seen 284 Bandana Patel from Uttar Pradesh, who has taken the bend, and he was just behind the leading group. In the men's section, just taking the bend is 203 Deepak Kumar from Punjab. We see 278 on the screen. Who is the leader in the women's section is Priyanka from Uttar Pradesh. She is the first person. 284 very closely followed is 284. Behind the leading group is Bandana Patel from Uttar Pradesh. In the lead, you have Ganapati Krishnan from Tamil Nadu, 206. In the second spot, you have 524 Sandeep Kumar from Haryana, followed by 506 Devendra Singh from Haryana. It was a group of 6 in the lead, which came down to 5 now in the group. 282 on the screen is Soumya B from Kerala, who is on the second spot in the women's section. 283 is Anu Dhawan from Haryana. We have 5 more laps to go in the men's section and 6 laps in the women's section to complete this 6th National Open Race Walking Championship for men A category 20-kilometer race walk. So on the screen you have 283 in the women's section, Anu Dhawan from Haryana, and in the lead in the men's group with the 5 of them is Ganapati Krishnan from Tamil Nadu, closely followed by 524 Sandeep Kumar from Haryana, and 506 is in the 3rd spot Devendra Singh from Haryana. So that is the group, the 5 of them. It could be anyone's race. By the time we see the 3rd or 2 more laps to go, it'll be almost a little different picture. So we have 4 more laps to go in the men's section, and in the lead is Ganapati Krishnan from Tamil Nadu, closely followed by the 2 of them again, 524 Sandeep Kumar from Haryana and Chandan Singh 526 from Uttarakhand. You have 207 Irfan KT from Kerala, who's with the group, along with 506 is Devendra Singh from Haryana. So that's a group which is just going to take the bend. And in the women's section, you have taking the bend is 277 Manjari Joshi of Uttarakhand, and 281 is Shanti Kumari from Punjab. In the women's section, 282 is Soumya, who's in the 2nd spot in the women's 20-kilometer race walk. 277 on the screen is Manjari Joshi from Uttarakhand. 282 is the leading in the women's section, Soumya B from Kerala. Behind her is Manjari Joshi from Uttarakhand. So in the 1st spot in the women's section, it is Soumya B from Kerala who's in the lead now. In the second spot in the women's section is 278 Priyanka from Uttar Pradesh. 295. 282 is on the screen, is Soumya B from Kerala. Over to Muthu, please.
Thank you, Rukmini. With the leaders in the men's section, we'll have to go for 4 more laps, and that is 5 to 4. Sandeep Kumar of Haryana, who is leading the bunch. Now 5 remains in the bunch. And we could see 282, who happens to be the women leader, 282. That is B. Soumya of Kerala. It is being headed by Sandeep Kumar at present. Sandeep Kumar of Haryana, Chandan Singh of Uttarakhand, Ganapati Krishnan of Tamil Nadu. They happens to be the leaders, and they were leading almost for most of the times, with Devendra Singh of Haryana for quite a short time. And this happens to be anybody's race, because that is the potential what they are showing. And they will have to go for 4 more laps. 206 takes over the lead, Ganapati Krishnan of Tamil Nadu. In the initial rounds, they were maintaining the lead for 2 or 3 laps, and now very often the leaders are getting changed as the race is coming closer towards the finish. And that happens to be 206 Ganapati Krishnan of Tamil Nadu, who is in front. 524 and 526. Sandeep Kumar of Haryana and Chandan Singh of Uttarakhand closely follow, with 506 Devendra Singh of Haryana also in the bunch. And they are the lead bunch. Five to 4. Sandeep Kumar of Haryana is trying to put himself ahead. Still, Ganapati Krishnan of Tamil Nadu is in the lead. The leaders will have to move for 3 more laps. Ganapati Krishnan of Tamil Nadu, Sandeep Kumar of Haryana, Chandan Singh of Uttarakhand. And that is 293 who is on the screen along with the leaders. 526 takes a lead. Chandan Singh of Uttarakhand moves ahead, and he is being given a warning by the official. Yes, that could be the reason how he was able to be little away from the bunch, and after the warning he got slowed down. The board indicates 3 more laps for the finish of 20-kilometer race walk in Group A men. And that happens to be 288, Kajal Pandey of Haryana in the screen. The leaders are heading towards U-turn. .206. After taking the turn, it is 206. Ganapati Krishnan of Tamil Nadu in the front. Chandan Singh of Uttarakhand, 526, had a warning just a little time back. And that is Ganapati Krishnan leading the bunch with 524. Sandeep Kumar of Haryana in the second spot, 526 Chandan Singh in the third spot, 506 Devendra Singh of Haryana in the fourth spot. 207, KT Irfan of Kerala, who happens to be the fifth one, trying to get closer. The four moves a little ahead. And that happens to be 288, Kajal Pandey of Haryana. And who is approaching the screen is one of the athlete from Chinese Taipei, Wen Zulin. Ganapati Krishnan moves with the lead. And there is the timing being displayed. Chandan Singh. Ganapati Krishnan still maintains the lead, takes the turn, being followed by 506 Devendra Singh of Haryana and 524 of Sandeep Kumar of Haryana. Five to four takes over the lead, Sandeep Kumar of Haryana, leaving Ganapati Krishnan of Tamil Nadu little behind. Ganapati Krishnan moves to the second spot, while 506 Devendra Singh of Haryana slips to the third. Chandan Singh of Uttarakhand happens to be in the fourth position at present. Again, it is Ganapati Krishnan of Tamil Nadu taking over the lead. Ganapati Krishnan. The lead bunch in the men's section will have to move for two more laps. Two more laps to go for men. And that happens to be 280, Ravina of Haryana. And that is 298, Nurul A. Kamarzama of Malaysia. .214, it is Satyanarayan of Uttar Pradesh in the screen. The lead bunch is in approach, being headed by Ganapati Krishnan. And now it is Sandeep Kumar of Haryana being the leader, followed by Ganapati Krishnan of Tamil Nadu. .506 is also taking the lead, moves to the second spot, leaving Ganapati Krishnan to the third one. And that is the timing at present what are being displayed. Both men as well as women timings are being displayed. Five of the men athletes will have to go for one more lap. 524, Sandeep Kumar of Haryana, who is in the lead, being followed by 506 Devendra Singh of Haryana. And in the third spot we have 526 Chandan Singh of Uttarakhand. Fourth one, it is Ganapati Krishnan of Tamil Nadu. In the fifth spot we have KT Irfan of Kerala. And that happens to be 277 Manjari Joshi of Uttarakhand. Along with her we have Bhavana Jant of Rajasthan. And that happens to be 298 Nurul A. Kamarzama from Malaysia, who happens to be one among the two women athletes. The lead bunch in the men's section is in approach. Five to four. Sandeep Kumar of Haryana is the present leader, being followed by 526 Chandan Singh of Uttarakhand, and at the third spot at present we have Ganapati Krishnan of Tamil Nadu, and that happens to be 285, followed by 277, 285 Bhavana Jat of Rajasthan and Anjali Kumari of Bihar. 277 is Manjari Joshi of Uttarakhand. And that is the timing of the athletes at present. And to continue over to Rukmini.
Thank you, Muthu. Now you see on the screen we have the 5 of them on the lead, who have just 1 lap to go to finish this 20-kilometer race. In the lead, we have 526 Chandan Singh from Uttarakhand. You have 524, very close, is Sandeep Kumar from Haryana, just taken the lead. That's the sign bell for the last lap. You have 526 Chandan Singh, 524 Sandeep, 506 Devinder Singh, and Ganapati Krishnan 206 from Tamil Nadu, and Irfan KT from Kerala. The 5 of them who are in the lead. And now, just taking over the lead is 524, Sandeep Kumar from Haryana. In the 4th spot, you have 206, that is Ganapati Krishnan, who was leading till a little 3-4 laps behind, and now he's come back to the 3rd spot. On the screen, you have 295, Sonal Sukwal from Rajasthan, 280. In the women's section is Ravina from Haryana. In the lead you have in the women's section 282, who happens to be Soumya B from Kerala. 278 is Priyanka from Uttar Pradesh. 295 is Sonal Sukwal from Rajasthan. They are on the lead. On the screen you have in the women's section 294 Shivani from Uttarakhand. So that's a leading bunch, and very soon they'll be completing this 20-kilometer race walk in the men's section A category for the 6th National Open Race Walking Championship 2019. That's the screen with the timings of all the runners, the walkers. Sorry, it's the walk race. So you have the timing of all the participants. And now, very soon, we'll be about to finish the 20-kilometer race walk in the men's section A category. Over to Muthu.
Thank you, Rukmini. And the walk is getting heated up with 524 Sandeep Kumar of Haryana in the lead. 524, 506, 506. Devinder Singh of Haryana, who is also moving in front. 524, Sandeep Kumar of Haryana is very much in the front, and they are heading towards the finish. And that happens to be the last lap for the top walkers in the 20-kilometer race walk Group A. And that happens to be 284, Bandhana Patel of Uttar Pradesh, who is seen on the screen, along with 280 Ravina of Haryana. There we could see the lead bunch. 506 Devinder Singh. The lead bunch is taking the last turn. That is the last turn for them towards the finish. And it is Devinder Singh of Haryana who is very much in front. The walk is getting heated up. They are heading towards the finish. Along with Devinder Singh of Haryana, we have Sandeep Kumar of Haryana and Chandan Singh of Uttarakhand, and the Ganapati Krishnan of Tamil Nadu, who was leading for quite some time, is very much behind. 4 of the athletes are in front. 506 having got tilted little, moving in front. Devinder Singh of Haryana, who is on top, and now it happens to be 207 KT Irfan. All the time he was very much behind, and only now he is picking up. At no time he was the leader, and that is KT Irfan. 207 moving towards the finish and finishing on top with 506 for the second spot. And as far as the finish in the men's section Group A is concerned, KT Irfan of Kerala was never in the lead in any of the lap, and only in the last 200 meters he was picking up the speed and finishing for the first spot, leaving 506 Devendra Singh of Haryana to the second spot. And in the women's section, the leader happens to be 282 B. Soumya of Kerala. The winner 207 KT Irfan is being greeted. He had finished in style. He was always keeping behind, and we could say he was the sixth person when six of the athletes were in the top bunch, and later on he was in the fifth position when five of the athletes remained in the lead bunch, and only in the last 200 meters he was able to pick up and finish in style, winning the title in the 20-kilometer race walk for men A. And that is KT Irfan of Kerala, just walking down after his victory. And that is 263 Luchon Singh from Malaysia, who happens to be one among the two foreign athletes. Luchon Singh of Malaysia, being followed by Deepak Kumar of Punjab. And that is 280 Ravina of Haryana, who is seen on the screen. And that happens to be the result. In the women's section, they will have to move for 2 more laps for finishing 20-kilometer race walk. And that happens to be 280 Ravina, 298 Nurul Kamarzama from Malaysia, one among the two foreign athletes also to be seen, and who is in approach is 294 Shivani of Uttarakhand. That is Shivani of Uttarakhand. And they are the athletes who will have to go for 4 more laps. And there is 297 Wen Zulin from Chinese Taipei, who is one among the two athletes from foreign. And to continue, over to Rukmini.
Thank you, Matu. 297, who has just crossed, is Wen Zulin from Chinese Taipei, who is one among the foreign athletes. 298 is the other foreign athlete, Nurul A. Kamarazama of Malaysia. 282 is in the lead, Soumya B from Kerala. We have, who's followed by 278, Priyanka from Uttar Pradesh. And you have 295, Sonal Sukhwal from Rajasthan. 278 on the screen is Priyanka from Uttar Pradesh, who is in the second spot now. 283, Anu Dhawan from Haryana is on the screen. And 282, Soumya B from Kerala is in the lead. She's in the first spot. We have just seen in the men's section, Irfan Ketty, who is finished in style. And now on the screen you see in the women's section, the leader, the person coming first is 282, Soumya B from Kerala. 283 is Anu Dhawan from Haryana. So on the lead on the screen is, in the women's section, 282, Soumya B from Kerala. So that is Soumya, the red, 282, who's followed by 283 is on the screen, Anu Dhawan from Haryana. She has one more lap to go, is to complete this 20-kilometer race walk for the women's section. 282, Soumya B in the lead, all by herself. She's there to finish up the race with just one lap to go. In the men's section, you had a group of 5 of them going together, and it could be anyone's race, and where Irfan Ketty took up the lead to finish the race. But in the women's section, you do not find such group, but she's all by herself. From Kerala is Soumya B, the 282.
Second is 278.
278 is in the second spot. That is Priyanka from Uttar Pradesh. On the screen behind, as you can see, is 283 Anu Dhawan from Haryana. So 298 is on the right, who just taken a bend, is Nurul A. Kamarazama from Malaysia, one of the foreign athletes. You have one more, 297, Wenziu Li from Chinese Taipei, who is also a foreign athlete, taking part in this 20-kilometer race walk for women. 296 is Sono from Rajasthan. This is Soumya from Kerala, who's in the lead. Followed by 283 is Anu Dhawan from Haryana. You have the 297 Wenziu Li from Chinese Taipei, and 296 is Sonu from Rajasthan. 293 is Renu Saharawat from Haryana. On the screen, 296 is Sonu from Rajasthan. 293 Renu Saharawat, Haryana, just looking behind to see where she stands. And in the lead is Soumya B, 282 from Kerala. Some of them have still 4 laps to go in the women's section. For for Soumya B from Kerala, she just has to finish up the race. 293 on the screen is Renu Saharawat from Haryana.
With almost all the walkers.
296 Sonu from Rajasthan has another 3 laps to go. We have,
The women's section.
that is the leader in the women's section, Soumya from Kerala. 282, running in style at her own space. There's no one behind her to compete with her. That's so that is the bell for her last lap. She just has to take a bend, come back, another bend, and that's the race which she's going to complete. In the second spot, you have 278 Priyanka from Uttar Pradesh, and 295 is just behind is Sonal Sukhwal from Rajasthan. Over to Muthu.
Thank you, Rukmini. And we could see the leader with bib number 282. 2, B. Soumya of Kerala. Unlike men race, B. Soumya was enjoying the lead all the time. In the men's section, it was always tight. In the initial rounds, it was 9 together and later 6 together. And for almost half of the race, 5 together. But in the women's section, after few of the laps, B. Soumya started enjoying the lead, being very much away from the second person. And at present, the second athlete happens to be 278 Priyanka of Uttar Pradesh. And that is B. Soumya taking the U-turn and heading towards the straights. She will have to take one more U-turn. 296. And there is 282, B. Soumya of Kerala, who was enjoying the lead all through the race, excepting the initial laps. And there is Soumya. Yeah, 282, who is in the lead. 282 B. Soumya is very comfortable with the lead in the women's section. There is no threat for her. And at present, she will have to go for almost half a kilometer. Just half kilometer for the leader to finish the race in the women's section, B. Soumya of Kerala. At present, in the second spot, we have Priyanka of Uttar Pradesh and 295 Sonal Sukwal of Rajasthan in the third spot. And that is the leader, 282, B. Soumya of Kerala, towards the finish. (298) Nurul Kamarzama of Malaysia is also seen in the screen, along with the leader in the women's section, B. Soumya of Kerala. And that is B. Soumya putting herself in front with no threat, taking the last turn. And that is the last bend she had taken, heading towards the finish of 20-kilometer race walk in the women's section. That is B. Soumya of Kerala moving very comfortably ahead, leaving her threat very much behind, almost more than half kilometer. (278) with yellow tops is being focused. She happens to be the second athlete as of now. 278 Priyanka of Uttar Pradesh, and she happens to be the leader, B. Soumya of Kerala, heading towards the finish. Ribbon. And there is B. Soumya of Kerala, very comfortably ahead to win the title in the women's section of 20 kilometers race of the 6th National Open Race Walking Championship 2019. That is B. Soumya, who was so comfortable in getting the title with no threat for her excepting the initial rounds. And that is Soumya relaxing after winning the title. And at present it happens to be Priyanka of Uttar Pradesh with 278 for the second spot. And there is B. Soumya of Kerala relaxing. With 278, Priyanka of Uttar Pradesh, who finished for the second spot. Ravina 280 of Haryana finished for the third spot. And still some of the tailenders of the walk race will have to go for 5 more laps. On the opening day of 6th National Open Race Walking Championship 2019, being organized by Tamil Nadu Athletics Association under the aegis of Athletics Federation of India, many even got over, and in the women's section too we got the result from the leaders, while the tailenders will have to go for the finish of the race. And very shortly we will be taking up 20-kilometer race walk for men Group B. And that happens to be 280, Ravina of Haryana, who finished third. Even though the tailenders will have to move around for 5 more laps, as per the mandate, the race will be abandoned in 1 hour 50 minutes from the start time. And that will be the maximum time which will be permitted for the athletes. If they are not able to complete within 1 hour 50 minutes, the athletes will be pulled out. And that is the Monroe statue, which is on the screen, which is a landmark at Chennai near the island grounds. Yeah.
मेरा कैमरा फ्री कर रहा है तभी तो दे दो। या वहीं से रहते रहते मेरे पे रहते मैं तारा पे how much 1.6 what is that no he was talking about masters
On the opening day of the 6th National Open Race Walking Championship 2019, being organized by Tamil Nadu Athletics Association under the aegis of Athletics Federation of India. The first race got over, which happened to be 20-kilometer race walk for men Group A. The leaders in the women's section also finished, while the walk in the women's section is yet to conclude. And in 1 hour 15 minutes from the start time, as per the mandate, the race will be abandoned and the next race, 20-kilometer race walk for men Group B, will be taken up. The next race only after.
भाई साहब 1 मिनट आ रहा हूँ रुको। ऑटो डायरेक्ट
ये हरा और ये था आ रही है आवाज?
हाँ आ रही
आ रही है ना आवाज?
अब नहीं आ रही।
Ladies and gentlemen, while the 20-kilometer race walk for women is yet to conclude, we will be happy in presenting you the results of 20-kilometer race walk for Group A men. The winner of the first place is KT Irfan of Kerala for having returned the timing of 1 hour 26 minutes 19.89 seconds. Second place winner is Devinder Singh of Haryana for clocking a timing of 1 hour 26 minutes 20.79 seconds. And third place goes to Sandeep Kumar of Haryana with 1 hour 26 minutes 22.46 seconds.
भाई क्या करना है? सुसु भी आई है ना। उनको जाने दो सर, क्लियर करो। आर्मी वाले खड़े हैं, इनके चक्कर में आई है। भाई जब हालत ख़राब हो जाएगी, 20 किलोमीटर मार ही सकता है 1 घंटे में पार करना। नहीं ऐसी 3 और होनी आज। इसके बाद 2 और है।
So now we have just started off with the 20-kilometer race walk for men B category. We had just completed the 20-kilometer walk for A category men and the women section, and now it is the race walk 20 kilometers for men B category. The race which was just flagged off by Mr. Suresh Sodalaitek, MD Crafton. Where we had Mr. Pari, who accompanied in the flag off, along with the Secretary of Tamil Nadu Athletic Association, Madam Lata, and the Treasurer, Mr. Rajendran. So on the screen, you see the 20-kilometer race walk, men B category. This is the 6th National Open Race Walking Championship 2019, organized by the Tamil Nadu Athletic Association. You have about 43 participants in this race walk. So on the screen you can see in the lead is 247 Ravinder from Haryana. They are moving as a big group. 242 is Rajesh Kumar from Punjab. (247) is Ravinder from Haryana. And 242 just behind is Rajesh Kumar from Punjab. 240 is Rahul Kumar from Uttar Pradesh. 155 is Ashpreet Singh from Punjab. 250 is Sandeep Singh from Uttarakhand. 257 is Tarun from Haryana. So in the lead you can see it is 242, 247, 250, 253. 254 is Shashikant Singh from Uttar Pradesh. 224 is Bhagwan Singh Rava of Uttarakhand. 239 is Rahul Dagar from Haryana. 233 is Naveen Rathi from Haryana. That's 240. They just taken the bend. 1 lap, which will be 1 kilometer, so they have to complete 20 laps. (247) Ravinder from Haryana. 221 is Arshdeep Singh Sidhu from Punjab. That is 221. Arshdeep Singh Sidhu from Punjab. 255 is Sonu Mishra from Punjab. You have 229 Karan Rathi from Haryana. 155 is Arshpreet Singh from Punjab. 227 is Hardeep from Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So that's the leading group. And just going ahead is 247, Ravinder from Haryana. On the other end is 221, Arshdeep Singh Sidhu from Punjab. They have 18 laps to go. 234 is Neeraj Kumar Chaur from Uttar Pradesh. 261 is Vishnu Kumar Sharma from Rajasthan. They've just started this 20-kilometer race walk. They have finished 2 laps. Each lap is 1 kilometer and they have about 18 laps to go. So this is being the 6th National Open Race Walking Championship 2019 being conducted by the Tamil Nadu Athletic Association in Chennai near the island grounds. So there you see after the bend it is 255 Sonu Mishra from Punjab who's just overtaken 247 Ravinder of Haryana. So in the lead is Sonu Mishra from Punjab, closely followed by 247 Ravinder from Haryana. It is 250 Sandeep Singh from Uttarakhand. 155 is just behind is Arshpreet Singh from Punjab. So that was 255 Sonu Mishra from Punjab in the lead. At present, they have about 17 laps to go. 255, 247, 225 is Dhananjay Yadav from Maharashtra. In the third spot, it is Dhananjay Yadav from Maharashtra. Two 6 is Eldo Varghese from Kerala. Card being shown by the official to one of the athletes. Two, 3, 4 is following very closely is Neeraj Kumar Chaur from Uttar Pradesh. 221 Arshdeep Singh Sidhu from Punjab. Keeping his lead is 255 Sonu Mishra from Punjab. So they're on the bend. They have to go on to the starting point to complete the 1 lap. Two, 3 is Ashok Kumar Patel from Chhattisgarh. And 248 is Sachin from Delhi. Two, 3, 9 Rahul Dagar is from Haryana, who's also very close to the leading bunch. Sixteen laps to go for them. Card being shown by the official. So in the lead you have Sonu Mishra from Punjab, 255. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 of them who have just split up into the leading bunch. 256 is Sudhir from Haryana. This is the first bend taken by them where they move on. This is just about 50 meters from the starting point. Then they move on, they take another bend, and then they come back to the starting point.
20-kilometer race walking is in progress for Group B men. It is our pleasure to honor the Secretary of Athletics Federation of India, Mr. C.K. Wilson. Mrs. C. Lata, the Secretary of Tamil Nadu Athletics Association, will take pleasure in presenting a shawl and a memento.
On the screen we have the Secretary of Tamil Nadu Athletic Association presenting the shawl to the Secretary Athletic Federation of India, Mr. C.K. Wilson. The dignitaries on the dais. As the race goes on, it is Mr. Ravinder, 247 of Haryana, still in the lead. Ravinder, 247 of Haryana in the lead.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have amidst us one of the top star athletes of the yester decades, who had represented 4 Olympics, 1 Padma Shri Award, Arjuna Award, and won a lot of international medals and who had taken part in very international meets. Mrs. Shiny Wilson. Mrs. Shiny Wilson is now being honored by the Secretary of Tamil Nadu Athletics Association, Mrs. C. Lata, by presentation of a shawl and a memento.
On the screen we have the star in the track and field, Shiny Wilson, who represented 4-time Olympics, who is a Padma Shri awardee, being honored by the Secretary of Tamil Nadu Athletic Association, Madam Lata.
Mr. Suresh of Sodalite Tech Coimbatore, who is also the MD of Crafton, will now be honored by presentation of a shawl.
So on the screen you have the 20-kilometer race walk for men B category. In the morning we had the A category men's section race along with the women, and now the third race, that is B category men 20-kilometer race walk for the 6th National Open Race Walking Championship 2019. This is being organized by the Tamil Nadu Athletic Association under the AFI. We have about 43 race walkers in this race. 219 we have is Aman Kumar from Punjab. 223 is Ashok Kumar Patel from Chhattisgarh. They have about 16 laps to go. .258 is Vikas Shah from Uttarakhand. 248 is Sachin from Delhi. .243 is Ram Babu from Uttar Pradesh. So that's the leading bunch, which is going ahead with about 9 of them in the lead. They have separated out from the rest. 255 is Sonu Mishra from Punjab. 247 is Ravinder from Haryana. .247 Ravinder from Haryana. Approaching the screen is 260 Vipin from Haryana. 245 is Ravi from Haryana. So that was the leading bunch which went in. to take the right bend. 235. Omkar Salunke from Maharashtra. Omkar is from Maharashtra. There on the lead is 255. Sonu Mishra from Punjab. Closely followed by Ravinder of Haryana 247. And you have 250. Sandeep Singh from Uttarakhand. 234 is Neeraj Kumar from Uttar Pradesh. 227 is Hardeep from Andaman and Nicobar. 239 is Rahul from Haryana. 238 is Rahul Rohila from Haryana. So that was the leading bunch which has just taken. That is 238 on the screen is Rahul Rohila from Haryana. Still in the lead is 255 Sonu Mishra from Punjab. Over to Muthu.
Thank you, Rukmini. And this happens to be the third event for the opening day of the 6th National Open Race Walking Championship 2019. The event in progress is 20-kilometer race walking for Group B men. Side polama. That side is very worst. Result idhula neenga padinga na running commentary koduttirukken. And that seems to be 250 who is moving over there. Sandeep Singh of Uttarakhand. $255. Sonu Mishra of Punjab. $255. And that happens to be the lead bunch with 255 leading. And 255 happens to be Sonu Mishra of Punjab. At the second spot we have 238. 238 is Rahul Rohila of Haryana. At the third spot it is 227 Hardeep of Andaman and Nicobar. And they happens to be the lead bunch. They will have to move for 15 more laps. 15 more laps to go for the lead bunch. It is Sonu Mishra of Punjab leading the bunch. For the second spot it is 238 Rahul Rohila. And now it is Sonu Mishra of Punjab still leading the bunch. with Rahul Rohila in the second spot. 2:27 Hardeep of Andaman and Nicobar in the third spot. The other athletes in approach are 2:58 Vikas Shah of Uttarakhand
and 2:39 Rahul Dagar from Haryana category. They have 13 laps to go. The weather has just warmed up a little. The temperature slowly raising up, making it a little difficult for the walkers. The athletes in the morning had a very pleasant temperature and climate. The men A category and the women a little hotter is now for the men 20-kilometer race walkers, the B category. So that is the position and the timings. The timings of the athletes taking part in the 20-kilometer race walk. Taking the bend is 2:23 Ashok Kumar Patel from Chhattisgarh. "20 laps is for completion of this 20-kilometer race walk. On the screen you have 2:45 Ravi of Haryana. 2:55 coming up in the lead is Sonu Mishra from Punjab, closely followed by 2:38 Rahul Rohila from Haryana. Then you have 2:56 Sudhir from Haryana, who's also on the screen, along with 2:39 Rahul Dagar from Haryana and 2:27 Hardeep from Andaman and Nicobar. So that is a leading group of 5 of them, split up into 3 plus 2. But keeping the lead is Sonu Mishra from Punjab. So now they have 12 laps to go to complete the race. So this is the 6th National Open Race Walking Championship 2019. Men B category 20-kilometer race walk, which is being organized by the Tamil Nadu Athletic Federation Association. (2:46) Ravi Kumar of Maharashtra on the screen.
For men B category is in progress. The leaders will have to go for 12 more laps, and at present it is Sonu Mishra of Punjab still maintaining the lead, being followed by 2:38 Rahul Rohila of Haryana, and at the third spot we have 2:27 Hardeep of Andaman and Nicobar, and there you could see 2:57 Tarun of Haryana, being followed by 2:56 Sudhir also of Haryana. And there is 2:46 Ravi Kumar of Maharashtra, who is in approach, being followed by 2:41 Rajesh of Haryana. And for the benefit of the people, those who have just started seeing, from the start point, the athletes are moving towards 250 meters and taking a U-turn. And that stretch will be for 500 meters. And again, they will take a U-turn as they cover another 250 meters. It will be a coverage of 1 kilometer from the point where they started. This is how the race is being conducted in the course. They will have to go for 20 laps to complete this 20 kilometers, for which the leader 255, who is an approach, Sonu Mishra, Punjab, and the leading group will have to go for 12 more laps. still the same lead is being maintained. 255 Sonu Mishra of Punjab in front, being followed by 238 Rahul Rohila of Haryana for the second spot. And for the third spot is not to be seen somewhere closer to them all along. 227 was so closer, that is Hardeep of Andaman and Nicobar. And now only the top two are in the leading bunch. That is 255 Sonu Mishra of Punjab. That happens to be Sashikant Singh of Uttar Pradesh. And the lead run walkers has come now. 255 Sonu Mishra of Punjab, being closely followed by 238 Rahul Rohila of Haryana. These two athletes are moving together right from the beginning, and it is Sonu Mishra of Punjab who always leads the race. The leaders will have to go for 11 laps. And as of now, Sonu Mishra of Punjab seems to have a lot of energy in reserve too, when compared to 246 Ravi Kumar of Maharashtra. Taking a turn, 241 approaches, that is Rajesh of Haryana. And that is the leader, 255 Sonu Mishra of Punjab. A card being shown to one of the, or if they are not locking their knees. The lead bunch will have to move for 10 more laps. Yes, it's half the way of the 20-kilometer race walk. As the athletes move for one full lap, they cover 1 kilometer, 10 laps got over, and they will have to travel 10 kilometers more. And that is the lead bunch. 255 Sonu Mishra of Punjab, being followed by Rahul Rohila of Haryana. And to continue, over to Rukmini.
Thank you, Muthu. So now the 20-kilometer race walk for men B category is in progress. In the lead, right from the beginning, it is Sonu Mishra and Sonu Mishra from Punjab, and the second one is Rahul Rohila from Haryana. They've continued to keep their lead. And as we all know, race walking is an Olympic sport. It is a long distance discipline within the sport of athletics. Although it is a foot race, it is different from running in that it is one foot must appear to be in contact with the ground at all times, and the knees have to be locked. If these two are not followed, they are shown the card by the officials. So they have to strictly follow this rule. for this race walk. And here we have only just the two of them who have separated out from the rest of the group to be in the lead. Others are just a little distance away from the leading group of two of them. They have 10 laps to go. The leading group, that is Sonu Mishra 255 of Punjab and 238 Rahul Rohila from Haryana, have 10 laps to go to complete this 20-kilometer race walk for men B category. On the screen you have 258 Vikas Shah of Uttarakhand. As we said, they have to travel 250 meters for the first bend, then walk up another 500 meters and then take the second bend to complete to the starting point of 250 meters, wherein that completes one lap of 1 kilometer. So they have to complete 20 laps to complete this 20-kilometer race walk. On the screen you have 238 Rahul Rohila of Haryana, and who has just taken the lead, 255 over Sonu Mishra of Punjab. Till now we saw Sonu Mishra taking the lead, and now it is Rahul Rohila of Haryana taking the lead. But very close to each other. It could be anyone's race. They have still 10 laps to go. But they're far ahead of the other group of competitors. You have 231 in the race, who is Lekraj Manoj from Rajasthan. You have Hardeep 227 from Andaman and Nicobar. You have Rahul Dagar 239 from Haryana. You have who has just crossed the screen. The temperature is really getting hotter every minute. It's become warm. So the consumption of the refreshment is more now compared to the morning 20-kilometer race for men A category and the women's section. So on the screen you have 226 Eldo Varghese from Kerala. 224 is Bhagwan Singh Rawa of Uttarakhand. Just approaching. On the screen is 224 Bhagwan Singh Rawa of Uttarakhand. Approaching the screen, you have the walkers who are walking at their space. 233 is Naveen Rathi of Haryana. 233 from Haryana, Naveen Rathi on the screen. And 258 is Vikas Shah from Uttarakhand. You have 232, who is Naveen Kumar from Haryana. 258 is Vikas Shah from Uttarakhand, you see. 255 is the leader, Sonu Mishra from Punjab, along with 238, that is Rahul Rohila of Haryana. So both of them in the lead. On the screen you see they have 9 laps to go. 258 is Vikas Shah of Uttarakhand. We have just 2 of them in the lead at present, where they have to complete another 9 laps. 223 on the screen is Ashok Kumar Patel from Chhattisgarh. 227 was in the lead, but now he is a little bit behind, and that is Hardeep from Andaman and Nicobar. 258 is Vikas Shah of Uttarakhand. Approaching on the screen is 233 Naveen Rathi from Haryana. So 238, 255. The 233 was Naveen. 255, 238 again back on the screen are the leaders of this 20-kilometer race walk, men B category. 255 is Sonu Mishra of Haryana, and 238 is Rahul Rohila from Haryana. So on the screen you have 238, Rahul Rohila of Haryana, who's closely, he's just few steps before the leaders. Soon approaching is 227, Hardeep from Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So on taking the bend is 238, Rahul Rohila of Haryana. Is going to 233 on the screen is Naveen Rathi from Haryana. That is 255, Sonu Mishra from Punjab. So it is the race of 238 or 255. That is Rahul Rohila of Haryana or Sonu Mishra of Punjab. The winning group has about 8 laps to go to complete the race. 227, Hardeep from Andaman and Nicobar is in the 3rd place, and they have 8 laps to go. So over to Muthu.
Thank you, Rukmini. As our leaders will have to move for another 8 laps, the race of 20-kilometer race walk for men Group B will get over. And as far as half of the race, almost 10 laps, more than 10 laps, it was 255, Sonu Mishra of Punjab, who was in the lead, having 238 Rahul Rohila of Haryana in the 2nd spot. And now the scene got changed after completion of 10.5 laps. Rahul Rohila of Haryana moves in front, having Sonu Mishra of Punjab behind him, and for the 3rd spot it happens to be Hardeep of Andaman and Nicobar with bib number 227. The three were sailing together in the initial rounds, leaving Hardeep little behind. Sonu Mishra as well as Rahul Rohila moved together, and still they are maintaining the same lead between them. And some 20-25 meters away, the 3rd person, 227, Hardeep moves on. And that happens to be 238 on the screen. That is Rahul Rohila, the leader of the race, being followed by Sonu Mishra of Punjab. Sonu Mishra of Punjab handing over the cap and the sunglasses, pouring some water to reduce the heat. The 227 is also catching up, and that is the timing of the athletes at present. It is almost 55 minutes plus as of now, with 8 more laps to go for the leaders. Two to 7 Hardeep is almost catching up, and that happens to be 226 Eldo Varghese of Kerala, who is on the screen. As he takes a turn, and that is the
238 and 255.
255. Sonu Mishra of Punjab takes a turn. being followed by 227 Hardeep of Andaman and Nicobar. Still 238 maintains the lead. Two three eight Rahul Rohila of Haryana is able to maintain his lead. And at the second spot it is Sonu Mishra of Punjab. For the third one it is Hardeep of Andaman and Nicobar. And that is a timing which are being displayed of the athletes as of now. It is almost 56 plus. The leaders will have to move for 7 more laps. Two double five is dropping behind. That is Sonu Mishra of Punjab moving to the third spot. 227 Hardeep was so comfortable in overtaking him. Hardeep of Andaman Nicobar moving to the second spot. And there is 226 Eldo Varghese of Kerala who is in the screen. (238) Rahul Rohila of Haryana is maintaining his lead. And there is the lap indication board saying that 7 more laps to go for the lead athletes. And that is our leader, 238, Rahul Rohila of Haryana. Even though not in the leading bunch, it is Eldo Varghese of Kerala with 226. 238 Rahul Rohila of Haryana is in the lead, and some 20-25 meters behind we have 227 Hardeep of Andaman and Nicobar.
Went to third spot, now not to be seen. 238, 227.
And that happens to be 239 followed by 250. That is Rahul Dagar of Haryana followed by Sandeep Singh of Uttarakhand. And that happens to be 238, the past leader who was leading almost for 10.5 laps. Sonu Mishra of Punjab, he was leading and now he is very much behind. 238 is coming in front. 227 in the second spot. 238 is Rahul Rohila of Haryana. 227 is Hardeep of Andaman and Nicobar. 255 Sonu Mishra of Punjab is behind, almost he is in the third spot. And to continue, over to Rukmini.
Thank you, Muthu. And now we continue with the race, the 20-kilometer race. Walk for the men B category. In the first race, in the A category, we had So 238, Rahul Rohila of Haryana, followed by 227, that is Hardeep of Andaman and Nicobar, and 255 is gone on to the third position, Sonu Mishra of Punjab. We never know because they have still 5 laps to go. The winning 3 have another 5 laps to go to complete the race. Till the last minute, it could be anyone's race because as we saw in the first race in the A category, the person who was 5th till the last lap just took over and was declared the winner. He just brushed through all of them and came to the first position. Here we have 3 of them in the lead. So it is Rahul Rohila of 238 of Haryana, or it could be 227 of Hardeep from Andaman and Nicobar, or Sonu Mishra 255 of Punjab. So approaching on the screen, you have the 238. You have. So this is their timings of the athletes who have just in progress the 20-kilometer race walk. Almost 1 hour and some minutes. We have just 5 more laps to go. So on the lead, we have the 3 of them still continuing at the same space. The weather has really changed and it has become hot for the walkers. So in the lead, we have 238 Rahul Rohila of Haryana, who's far ahead from the others. Yes. So that was 238, who's just about to take the next second bend. You have 227 Hardeep from Andaman and Nicobar, followed by Sonu Mishra 255 of Punjab. So these 3 are in the first, second and third spot at the just before they could have another 5 laps to go to complete the race. Over to Muthu.
Thank you, Rukmini. The leaders will have to go for 5 more laps, and that happens to be 238 Rahul Rohila of Haryana, who is in a comfortable lead. And he is the leader, 238, Rahul Rohila. Rahul Rohila of Haryana is in a comfortable lead, no threat closer to him. Of course, it is in the form of 227 Hardeep of Andaman and Nicobar, who is a little behind. Till 12 to 13 laps, the leader and the second person were moving so closer, but now the distance between them got widened up, and 238 is very comfortable. Rahul Rohila of Haryana is very comfortable moving as a leader, and 255 Sonu Mishra of Punjab, who was leading till 10.5 laps, was left behind for the third spot at present, and who was in the third spot, that is 227 Hardeep of Andaman and Nicobar, is now in the second spot. And that happens to be 246. Ravi Kumar of Maharashtra, who is seen on the screen. Now we have 254. Sashikant Singh of Uttar Pradesh. The leaders will have to go for 4 more laps. And that happens to be the leader 238, Rahul Rohila of Haryana. Rahul Rohila moves on very comfortably with no threat closer to him. And almost the threat is 50 meters away in the form of 227, Hardeep of Andaman and Nicobar. And now again it is Sonu Mishra coming closer to the second person, Sonu Mishra of Punjab, who was leading for 10.5 laps, is at the third spot now, very closer to Hardeep of Andaman and Nicobar, leaving 238, Rahul Rohila of Haryana very much in front, and that is the leader, Rahul Rohila. The leader moving very comfortably with almost 50 meters behind the second and third persons coming. They are not closer to him. The leader will have to go only for 4 more laps.
Yes, yes.
And he is the leader 238, Rahul Rohilla of Haryana. And that happens to be, he happens to be the leader, that is 238, Rahul Rohilla of Haryana, taking the bend. And that happens to be 241, Rajesh of Haryana on the screen. And that leader, 238, Rahul Rohilla of Haryana, will have to go for 3 more laps. And that is the timing at present of the athletes. Almost 1 hour, 12 minutes happens to be the timing made by the leader now. And that is Rahul Rohilla of Haryana with 238, who is in the lead. The leader, Rahul Rohilla of Haryana, will have to move for 2 more laps for the finish of 20 kilometers race walking in men B category. The leader of the race, 2:38, Rahul Rohila, will have to go for the last lap.
He's about to finish. But 238.
Just keep talking at them.
238. You have to go ahead. 255 is third.
And second?
That 2 to 7.
No, where's my paper? Who is it? Who's the B category? Only 8, huh? Rahul Rohila.
2 to 7 and then only 2 to 7. 255.
So almost ending of this 20-kilometer race walk for men B category, we have in the lead 238 Rahul Rohila from Haryana and 227 Hardeep from Andaman and Nicobar, and in the third place you have 255 Sonu Mishra of Punjab. Almost finishing. They have to. This is the last lap for Hardeep of Andaman and Nicobar with 227, his bib number. He has just got one lap to go. That is just 1 kilometer. Soon approaching is. This is
Second is 2 to 7.
This is 258, who is Vikas Shah of Uttarakhand. 255 is in the third position. That is Sonu Mishra of Punjab. So that was the last lap for 255 too. 227, 225. He is just finishing. 238 is just about to finish. 238 is just finishing the 20-kilometer race walk. Rahul Rohila of Haryana. That is 238, who has just completed his race. He's in the first position, who was in the lead for almost 10 laps. It was actually, in the beginning, it was Sonu Mishra who was in the lead, 255 of Punjab, but then slowly, steadily, he picked it up and he kept up his lead, is Rahul Rohila, 238 of Haryana. a steady race which he ran the last 10 laps. And we have in the second position, you have 227 Hardeep of Andaman and Nicobar, who's in the second position. And 255, who was in the lead in the beginning, has gone to the third position. That is Sonu Mishra of Punjab. So we're just waiting for the second athlete to finish his 20-kilometer race walk. This is the 6th National Open Race Walking Championship 2019, which we are witnessing now in Chennai, near the Island Grounds. So we have the other athletes who still have to complete 2 laps, or it could be 3 laps they have to complete. But for 227, it is Hardeep from Andaman and Nicobar who's to complete the race. .255 in the third position has got another one more right bend, then the 500 meters which he has to complete, and then only he comes back to the starting point to complete his race. 246 Ravi Kumar of Maharashtra, who just crossed the starting point, has got some laps to go. So 238 Rahul Rohila of Haryana was far ahead of his competitor, the second place 227 of Hardeep of Andaman and Nicobar. So Rahul was almost a lap ahead. Soon approaching the finishing. So,
No, 2 to 1.
2 to 1, 2 to 7. 2 to 7
2 to 7 would have finished second, no?
There.
Second.
So second to finish this 20-kilometer race walk, men B category, is 227. 227 Hardeep of Andaman and Nicobar. He has just completed the race and he's in the second position, who's almost 1 lap behind the winner, 238 that was.
255, third place.
And the third place finishing is
Sonu Mishra.
255 Sonu Mishra of Punjab, just completed his third position. So we have the 3 winners and the others to go for their last lap, or it could be 2 laps. Thank you. Over to Muthu.
Thank you, Rukmini, and that was a wonderful race for race B, having started right at 8 o'clock. It is almost 1 hour, less than 40 minutes. It should be somewhere around 1:37:38.
Keep in a bag. Why waste time? Put it inside. Hand over the mic and- Yes.
Draw your attention please. In a very short time from now, we will be taking up the presentation ceremony. That is victory ceremony. And we call upon the winners of 20-kilometer race walking in the men's section, Group A, and also the winners of the 20-kilometer race walking women's section to assemble near the dam. I repeat, winners of 20 kilometers race walking, men's section A group and women's section are requested to kindly assemble near the stage, and as soon as the undergoing race walking for Group B men is over, we will be taking the presentation ceremony for the third event also.
तार सिमटवा मैं 2 किलोमीटर लेकर आ रहा हूँ, बंद करना है उसका। पहले किया था हमने।
वो पूछ के आए हैं।
किया नहीं है पहले अपनी
अवार्ड सेरेमनी ना।
हाँ हाँ अभी किया है पहले किया है अजय कर रहा हूँ
कैमरा अजय कर रहे हैं। और आगे ले लो तारा।
और आगे ना थोड़ा साथ
कैमरा हैंडी करना है। नहीं यहीं से।
चार
छोड़ दिया वहाँ पे। एनर्जी ड्रिंक तो छोड़ दिया। महंगा है
किसने कहा महंगा है बार बार
मेरे को कितना ला के देगा? हो गया।
नहीं है उसके बाद नहीं है ओ तारा बेईमानी मत कर दारू पिया था
मामू बना रहे हो? मामू बना रहे हो? मामू
I request the winners in the women's section, the 20-kilometer race walking. The winner, first place winner 282 Soumya from Kerala. The second place winner 278 Priyanka from Uttar Pradesh. And the third place 280 Ravina from Haryana. I request all the three winners to kindly come over and dance, please.
Once again, we would like to call upon the women winners of 20-kilometer race walking to assemble near the stage, please.
आ रहे ना प्लेयर अभी आ रहे दौड़ दौड़ खत्म हो जाए दौड़ रेस खत्म हो जाए फिर
As soon as we receive the results of our race B, we'll be able to call upon the winners in the men's section. I repeat, as soon as the race is getting over and the results are being released for race B, the results will be announced for men. Hence, we request the men also to wait for the victory ceremony.
इतना ही आगे नहीं आएगी इतना ही है आएगी नहीं आएगी निकाल दे कोई ना चिल्ला रहा है यार
काम नहीं हो पाएगा 3 घंटे इतनी धूप में नहीं बैठा जा सकता तो और क्या करेंगे सर अब आप इसको देखिए बिल्कुल बुरा हाल है ये देख पूरी रात से जाग रहे हैं इनके साथ सारे 12 बजे से यही है क्योंकि शाम को 4 बजे से यहाँ इधर वाला ऐसी जगह टेंट लगवा दो सर चाहे 2 तरफ से कवर करवा दीजिएगा जो भी लग सकता लगवाइए समझ इतनी बात टेंट
சார் வரீங்களா அந்த இடத்துக்கு அந்த சிலை பக்கத்தில் அந்த டென்ட்டு ஒன்று நீங்கள் பார்க்காம போயிட்டீங்களா வாங்க 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 டென்ட் இருந்தால் அப்படியே எடுத்துகிட்டு வந்துருங்க ஒன்று சின்னதாக ஒன்று அப்படி 10 அந்த மாதிரி
We also call upon the men winners of 20-kilometer race walking to assemble near the dance. KT Irfan of Kerala, Devinder Singh of Haryana, and Sandeep Kumar also of Haryana. Please assemble near the stage.
We request all the volunteers to kindly pick up all the cones which are on the track, please, and bring it near the stage. Volunteers are requested to pick up the cones and bring it near the stage, please.
am very much pleased to extend a warm welcome to today's chief guest, Principal Secretary, Sports and Youth Welfare, Mr. Kumar, IAS. On behalf of one and all here, we are very happy in extending a warm welcome to yourself. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as a mark of respect and regard, the day's chief guest will now be honored by presentation of a shawl and a memento by the Secretary of Tamil Nadu Athletics Association, Mrs. C. Lata. As a mark of our respect and regard, a shawl is now being presented to the Principal Secretary, Sports and Youth Welfare, Mr. Kumar, IAS. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now be taking up the victory ceremony for the 6th Open National Race Walking Championship 2019, being organized by Tamil Nadu Athletics Association under the aegis of Athletics Federation of India. And it will be our pleasure and privilege to request the day's chief guest, Principal Secretary, Sports and Youth Welfare, Mr. Kumar, IAS, to kindly present the medals, and we request the Secretary General of Athletics Federation of India, Mr. C.K. Wilson, and the Secretary of Tamil Nadu Athletics Association, Mrs. C. Lata, to kindly accompany our guest of honor. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we will now be witnessing the victory ceremony of 20-kilometer race walking in the women's section of the 6th Open National Race Walking Championship 2019. On the victory podium, it is Ravina of Haryana getting the bronze for clocking a timing of 1 hour 41 minutes 48.87 seconds. Ravina of Haryana is being presented with a medal and the prize money of rupees 25,000. The winner of the silver medal is Priyanka of Uttar Pradesh for returning a timing of 1 hour 41 minutes 23.69 seconds. She is being presented with a silver medal and a prize money of rupees 50,000. medal and the title in the women's section of the 6th Open National Race Walking Championship 2019 goes to B. Soumya of Kerala for having returned the timing of 1 hour 40 minutes 27.94 seconds. The title winner B. Soumya is being presented with a medal and a prize money of rupees 75,000. Congratulations, winners. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now be witnessing the victory ceremony of 20-kilometer race walking for Group A. Sandeep Kumar of Haryana getting the bronze for having returned the timing of 1 hour 26 minutes 19.00 seconds. Sandeep Kumar is being presented with a bronze medal and a prize money of rupees 25,000. The winner of the silver medal is Devendra Singh of Haryana for having clocked the timing of 1 hour 26 minutes 19.00 seconds. Devendra Singh is being presented with a medal and a prize money of rupees 50,000. And the gold medal and the title of 6th National Open Race Walking Championship 2019 in the men's section goes to K.P. Irfan of Kerala for having clocked the timing of 1 hour 26 minutes 18.00 seconds. Congratulations, winners, and we thank the day's chief guest, Principal Secretary, Sports and Youth Welfare, Mr. Dheeraj Kumar, IAS, for being with us and honoring the event. Thank you, sir. As the events got over for the opening day, tomorrow's event will begin right at 6 a.m. with 50 kilometers walk, and along with that we will be having 10 kilometers walk for boys as well as girls. So we thank everyone for the nice cooperation extended to the athletes, to the police personnel, to the administrators of Chennai Corporation and everyone, and we do expect the same cooperation tomorrow for the successful completion of the 6th Open National Race Walking Championship. Thank you all. Let us meet tomorrow by 6 a.m. for 50 kilometers walk. We do thank media for their extensive coverage. We thank one and all for their support.